Imagine holding a cup of water, filled to the very edge. If someone bumps into you, what happens? Water spills everywhere. Think of yourself as that cup. The bumps are the daily, unexpected stresses of life. When life jolts you, whatever is filling you up on the inside is what spills out. Consider a man we'll call Pastor G. One Saturday morning, he was running late, overwhelmed by his sermon preparation and community duties. Racing through city traffic, a car suddenly swerved and cut him off. His reaction was immediate. He slammed on the brakes, raised his fist, and yelled at the other driver in frustration. The stress had bumped him, and anger spilled out. 20 minutes later, Pastor G stood up to teach his class at the church. He scanned the room, and his eyes locked on a familiar face in the front row. It was the same driver he had just screamed at in traffic. We never truly know who is watching our character. Every interaction we have, especially with strangers, acts as a testimony of what is inside us. When we hear the call to go and make disciples, it's easy to feel inadequate. You might think your personality isn't right for it, or that you're far too introverted for such a big task. Look at Peter and John in the early days of the church. When they spoke, the authorities were stunned. They noticed these men were uneducated and had no formal religious training. Their power came from a different source entirely. The leaders realized these men had simply spent time with Jesus. They were eyewitnesses who couldn't help but speak about what they had seen and heard. Witnessing flows naturally when you share what God is doing in your life. Your own experience of His goodness is the most powerful news you can offer the world. When we share our faith, the method matters. Using pressure or force to make someone believe what we believe goes against the core of God's character. God always honors our freedom to choose. He allowed Adam and Eve to make their own decisions in the garden, and He waited for people to choose to enter the ark. He never forces a relationship. Jesus modeled this by seeing people as sheep without a shepherd. He was moved by deep compassion, and He focused on meeting their tangible, physical needs first. The invitation to follow Him only came after He demonstrated unselfish service and genuine care. He earned their trust through His actions. In the early stages of a friendship, your personal story carries the most weight. People respond to your lived experience long before they engage with complex arguments. This kind of sharing starts with building a genuine friendship. Spend time getting to know people and pray for the right opportunities to interact with them. Look for natural moments to talk about your own faith or offer to pray for a friend's specific needs. Ask for the boldness to speak, but always keep your approach gentle. Over time, find ways to connect your new friends with your church community. A simple social gathering or a small group study allows them to experience a supportive environment. A loving and lovable life is the most persuasive tool for drawing people toward God. When our characters reflect His, we naturally attract others to Him. This becomes very personal when it involves family. Many parents and spouses carry the deep heartache of watching a loved one choose to walk away from their relationship with God. The Bible acknowledges this pain through the story of Ephraim. He was part of God's chosen family, yet he strayed far from the path he was raised on. God responded to this wandering with hope. He promised that the work of a faithful parent would be rewarded and that their wayward children would eventually return. We must replace feelings of judgment or condemnation with the yearning love modeled by God. Our goal is to offer comfort and a listening ear to those who are weary. Think of how Jesus prayed for Peter's future even before Peter stumbled. Your persistent, loving prayers can help change the trajectory of the people you love most. A consistent life that models peace and hope is the strongest argument for a loved one's return. They will see a quiet strength in you that can only come from God. When we are filled with God's Word, sharing Him becomes a spontaneous outflow. It stops being a forced duty and becomes a natural part of who we are. Love remains the foundation of everything we do. Whether we are interacting with strangers or family, compassion is what makes the message clear. As you head into your Sabbath School discussion this week, consider these final questions. Why is unselfish love foundational to effective witnessing? In your experience, how is sharing your faith linked to your personal walk with God? When sharing the Bible with a non-believer, do you focus first on proving doctrines or inviting them to know Jesus? Focus on living a life so full of Christ that His love naturally spills over into the world every day.